podcast you listen as we get crazy with horror movies. MC likes the scary movies. I like the scary stuff. I don't really care about the movies he likes, though.
Do you ever?
I don't. I don't care about those movies.
Two of my favorites there: Phantasm, the Evil Dead franchise, The Exorcist.
You like The Exorcist?
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite movies.
Oh. Why? Why?
Just creepy. Just
why-
creepy. We went to see it. Even me and my brother went to, like, when the special edition was re-released. We were the first ones in there. We were laughing though. I mean, at that point, we were just probably enjoying the actress and stunt and effects more, I think, than we were creeped out probably when we first watched it as kids. So,
what scared you about The Exorcist that was so terrifying? Did you think it was the special effects? We talked about this yesterday. Was it the part that you
pre-show?
What was it?
Pre-show prepping.
Oh
yeah, we.
I was like, what the?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say. I think it was just like the overall creepiness of it. I mean, there was nothing like ever seen when it was first out. I think movies have tried to emulate it, and it just, like, you can't recapture that, like, almost that first time magic. The effects were probably more practical. It wasn't like special. It was just creepy. They did crap they probably shouldn't do now, and like putting the actors in a meat locker for the breaths, to be just like the room cold, just a lot of stuff little things, I think, that just added to the whole, overall feeling of the movie, just made it creepy.
You're talking about the movie special effects that they did to
people. Yeah, like forcing them.
Dude, what happened to your face? You're gone. There it is. Jeez, look how big your head is. Camera's so
changes. Chucky, Freddy. Yeah,
camera's so close. You need a camera stand. You're holding your phone, I can tell.
How can you tell?
Because it looks like this.
It's all floating around. Yes.
So, anyways, let me change this view because this is.
Yeah, that's a weird view.
You just look.
Feels like my head is chopped off.
It looks like you're just
fitting with the horror film. Put it where we feel like we're on the moon.
All right.
Further away.
So we were talking about movies, and when I was a kid, the movies that scared me the most as a child was Poltergeist. And the only part that scared me the most as Poltergeist was the stupid clown that grabbed the kid and pulled him under the bed.
That was the brother. That was the brother, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was scared of that clown. And I'll tell you why it terrified me. It's because my parents, for some reason, purchased me a Boxcar Willie ventriloquist doll. And let me see if I can pull him up. And it sat in my they
put it in your bedroom too, just to help you sleep.
It just sat in my so my parents had this doll. This thing's $130 now. So my parents had this doll anyways, just as hanging out.
And on eBay?
Huh?
So what are you, on eBay?
Yeah, I tried to pull up a picture of this ventriloquist doll. So I had the hobo version of it, but it kind of looked like what I'm going to show you. And the problem with it was my parents purchased this, and then they took me to go see Poltergeist, the movie, and this thing sat, and it sat on the edge of my bunk bed because I didn't have anywhere else to stick it. And I remember watching that part of the movie Poltergeist, when he's talking to that little doll and he's like, all right, and he's going to cover its face or whatever he's going to do to it. And I was thinking to myself, that's exactly what I
that thing looks terrifying. That was in your bedroom?
That was it was on the edge of my bed.
On your bed?
Yeah. So
they just thought, hey, you need help sleep. Need help sleeping, young JC.
I wanted to be a ventriloquist. I wanted to be a
horrible looking, scary doll to sleep with. Good night.
I'll show you right now. I'll be some of my ventriloquists. Hey there. Hey there, MC. What's going on? That's great. How are you today? Did you do something fun? Oh, yes, I had a good time.
You missed your calling in life.
Ventriloquist. Okay. I got scared and it really cranked the shit out of me. Well, did you say shit? How did you do that without moving your lips? You got to say shit, like shit and it. Ha 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 ha. So
yeah, you missed your calling in life.
No, I should have been
a ventriloquist.
I'm gonna throw my voice right now. Hey, what's going on? So, anyways, that thing sat on the edge of my head.
This thing is like staring a hole through all the listeners' soul right now. Those huge eyes.
Let me change it to so you can see the speaker part of it. So now that I'm talking, everybody's going to see it right in their face. So I wanted to be a ventriloquist. I had this doll my parents had. I wanted to learn how to be a ventriloquist. So I listened to a record on how to be a ventriloquist. And then I went and saw Poltergeist with that freaky ass clown in the Poltergeist movie. And all I thought to myself was, I wasn't prepared for this movie and that stupid clown to show up. And I was like, oh my God, this is terrifying as a kid to see that part of the movie. And so, my dogs are farting in here. It smells so bad. My dogs are just killing me with this
ventriloquist devil eyes and the horrible smell of the dogs cutting wind.
Dogs are killing me. But anyways, when this doll showed up, I just thought, holy crap, this is like the worst thing you could do to a kid. And I think I'm not the only one. I mean, I'm sure if anybody wanted to write to us, if they ever were listening to this, probably would write to us to say that was probably the scariest part as a kid, is to see the Poltergeist clown show up and everybody's like, this thing looks terrifying. Why is it in this movie? And then the thing comes to life and grabs that kid. I just saved it. I don't know what I did with that picture, but it grabs that kid. And then it just, look at that thing.
Yeah, that's pretty freaky. You got big orange hair.
Do you remember that part of the movie though?
I do remember that a little bit. Yeah,
That didn't terrify you at all?
Probably the girl being sucked into the TV was probably a little more terrifying. But yeah, the cloud, that didn't help.
Dude, that was thing. And then that little short lady's like, go into the light. Go into the light. So
was it the sequels that had the weird guy with the teeth and like the old guy preacher guy who came to the door? Was that in like Poltergeist 2 or 3?
So think about that too. You get a scary movie, it makes a hit, and then you ruin it with sequels that are just stupid shit that really realize that that's not going to scare you anymore because you've seen the first one.
Let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this before I forget. Yeah, he was a creepy dude. Was there ever a sequel you thought of a scary movie now, obviously, because it's what we're talking about? Was ever a sequel to a scary movie you thought was better than maybe even not the original, but better than you would have every reason to believe? Like it progressively got better in the franchise. Like it helped it. Like I would say for me, like Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 kind of still went into the laugh category, but I still think it was better than like the first, although that's a shirt from the first one, an image. Most of the time it doesn't. So it's like, that's why I was curious to see if you had a sequel to one of them. I mean, maybe there's one of the sequels like Nightmare on Elm Street, although I think you hated all those, you said.
Nightmare on Elm Street's the stupidest movies ever. It's not You know
Two
what
was
makes
very bad. The second one was very bad. I don't even know how they made another one after two, but three was the one with the Dream Warriors that actually bounced back a little bit.
Dream Warriors?
Although it sounds like you hate every movie.
I don't like. I didn't like it because it was all about sleeping. So of course, nightmares are all about like you're gonna have nightmares, and everybody. I'll tell you, a movie that freaked me out about people like not being able to talk or whatever was a movie called Skeleton Key.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Skeleton Key was creepy. That is this creepy ass movie, and it has
is that the voodoo one or something?
Yeah, that shit could be real, man. You know, a guy killing
someone could be cursing you right now.
A guy killing you in his dreams is, especially when he looks all burned up and he's wearing it's just
comedy promoter wouldn't put me on a show. I curse him.
He just having to show up. I'm gonna scare the shit out of him. And
he told me to go home early when I still had 5 or 6 minutes left in my set. He's cursed. Because I watched the movie Skeleton Key. Now I know how to do it.
Skeleton Key, dude. It was a creepy ass movie. I know.
I've seen images from it, but I've never seen it. I've heard it was maybe low-key good one.
It's not gory. It's not super
Damn, it just pulled up immediately.
It's not super it's a suspenseful movie, but the end of it, here's how bad it was. The end of it, I couldn't sleep. I had to get up and watch like Scooby-Doo or something. I was freaked out. Like I was thinking that people could be put into a trance and then they just never wake up. And
that's pretty screwy.
It was pretty creepy. So that movie creeped me. But as far as like a second part of the movie, the only movies I liked that had sequels after sequels, and I'm not sure they're sequels, but it's Halloween. I think the latest Halloweens were pretty cool to watch. I think it's because it's nostalgic. Is it nostalgic kind of thing? Like you're seeing all the actors from the previous movies. It's interesting because you have a history when you watched it as a kid. So those kind of movies to me, I'm not really digging deep into like, oh, that's bullshit. That's not really how it happened in the first one. Because realistically, I rented movies to watch them. So you really didn't get a chance to do what you do now, which is go to the internet and watch these movies. You had to run to the video store and hopefully that it's available for rent. That's how freaking life was back in the day there, kiddies. So you couldn't just pull it up and pay. You had to actually run to the store, hopefully that it's on the shelf, not checked out, and then you could watch it that weekend.
Or go actually to the movie theater, which I have for the last couple of weeks, seeing Evil Dead Rise and then Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, you should still support your theater if you believe in the franchise and the movie well enough. But there are some that just go to streaming, like we were talking about the Halloween. That was our first Me Podcast to Listen episode, was reviewing the comeback Halloween.
This guy right here, the Friday the 13th, I like those.
Yeah, those were good.
And I liked Halloween. I don't like Chucky. Stupid.
Yeah.
Don't like the stupid Freddy Krueger.
First one was great. I disagree with you on that. I think the first. I think
because you're like into those movies, and
I mean, there was something eerie about it, and rewatch value. He is maybe cracking it too. I like a little bit of seriousness. Like maybe Freddy was a little too goofy in the first one. Obviously, in the later ones, it became really a caricature. But yeah, I'd agree. The first Halloween, the second one went more slasher. The Rob Zombie ones were terrible, except for what they were recreating from the first one from John Carpenter. Then the later ones went into more cult, trying to explain it. H2O was weird. I think the second one of this last trilogy was the best one. And then they just went into that third movie with the possession of that kid. It was just, get me started on that one. That was just awful. But first Halloween you can't beat. It was just creepy. They're playing music that I can't hear.
Oh, it's the dogs. They're barking in the middle of a recording.
Just sounds like they're dying.
There's a dog next door barking, and my puppy's like, "Holy crap! Emergency!" Oh,
now I can hear the bark now.
Hey,
you know, it was a creepy thing. Speaking of creepy movies, you ever see John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness? That was one you should watch. Yeah, that was really great. Had Alice Cooper in it. Not
see right there, right there. So you said it, Alice Cooper. No, not watching it.
But he's not the star of it. He's playing a homeless person.
Oh, well, that's a far stretch.
But it's not what you think. You should watch. It's a creepy film. You're ventriloquisting dog noises. Shut up. Phantasm, which is right behind me, is another one that just it had a bunch of sequels, but there's nothing like the first one. It was just all creepy.
Are you more of a slasher type of movie guy? Or are you a suspenseful, like having to like have a good story?
Yeah, I'm all about the story. That's why I like the first Halloween. Had a good story. Even if it's just mysterious, like Phantasm or one of the other movies, like I was saying, the Prince of Darkness didn't make any. You don't know what the hell is really going on. Like there's a message from the future, like of an apocalypse, and they're unleashing something. What they're unearthing at this church. It's just something that's really bizarre that freaks you out. Is those are always my favorite ones. I mean, just stuff that you don't quite understand. I mean, I know it was sci-fi a little bit. I don't know, it's called, that's my favorite, but it was really messes you up. It was that one in space with Lawrence Fishburne, Event Horizon. Someone was just talking to me the other day about Event Horizon, and it's just like that movie was so fucked up when they're like going through a wormhole into the gates of hell, basically. So, I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
So those are the movies I think that touch home for people, that make people nervous, are the movies that get into religious based, where they feel like this somewhat could be real.
Yeah,
those are the movies I think that fuck with people, because it makes people think this shit could truly be happening. Like Amityville Horror, the movie about the house that was haunted or possessed, and those people bought the home, and it was based on true events. I read the book as a kid. Why? I don't know. And then I saw the movie, and I think it was that the book actually scared the shit out of me more than the movie. And the part is that you feel like this truly could happen. Possession, evilness, people could be possessed by the devil, all that kind of shit. And then I remember back when this stuff was going on, it was the devil music, devil toys, He-Man dolls, and all that was devil toys. The Care Bears were devil toys.
He-Man dolls.
Yeah, He-Man was the devil toys, man. They said it was because it was like possession stuff. And all of this had like
why? Why He-Man though?
Oh, I don't know.
The skeleton?
I don't even know. I think it was like have to do with like Orko was like a magic spirit and all this kind of shit. And it's just, I mean, if you
that was such a kiddie cartoon. That was such a kiddie cartoon too. That's hard to believe that you would think that. It's so funny.
I didn't think that. It's what I was told.
Who told you that? Your older brother to scare you? Don't watch He-Man.
It was these devil toys that He-Man was the He-Man Master Universe had some kind of devil thing on it. And I think it was because they said that it had to do with all the magic powers and spirits and black magic that was bringing people to believe that there was the devil in this stuff. And so
I've never heard that. That's very bizarre.
You go to a Christian school. I did.
I grew up at a Catholic school. I didn't go to in high school. But
Catholics don't do that stuff. So
I'm not a practice. I'm a non-denominational Christian now. But like, yeah, what do you mean? Like they. If there's anything, Catholics are big on like, be careful and wary of the devil and such like that. So I wouldn't think we would be any less frightened by demonic possession and stuff. That's a big part of
you weren't.
That's stuff that we heard growing up, sure, but
Did you
I
hear
just
that?
never heard that on He-Man though.
That He-Man had a satanic propaganda. Here you go. The blonde barbarian. Some reason it said sometimes I think it's heard, but it's been a bit. According to posts made on the website the month. I don't know what the hell it's talking about. It had something to do with the spirit of He-Man screams out. Oh, here it is. As He-Man is wrapped in the light and screams out, he has the power. Our authors see this as reflected in 2 Corinthians 11:14. And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. See? These people believe this shit.
That was the hero of the cartoon. They had a skull-faced demon. Oh, what was his name? I think Skeletor's original name was Demo Man.
Demo or Devil?
Demo. Demo Man.
They called him Skeletor?
Skeletor. They changed his name from Demo Man, I think, to Skeletor.
How does that even make sense? But this guy behind me, is the
armor. That's the armor version of He-Man.
That's the one that had the where you push the
battle armor He-Man. Yeah,
got the damage. Oh, he got hit.
He's fighting a skull demon who laughs like.
Yeah, but he's the devil. Care Bears too.
But you're saying he's the devil now. You're saying he's the angelic version of the devil.
I'm not saying shit.
Fighting who? Are they all the devils?
I'm not saying shit. All I'm saying is what I was told is that He-Man had a devil aspect of it for some reason. It was satanically version of it. I don't understand. We'll have to pull up a different version of this at a different time to talk about why these toys were devilish. And then the same thing. I don't know. Because you would think the same thing. You and me think the same thing. You would think that the guy who they would consider to be the devil would be this dude.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if that's what you're talking about, yeah, they had some frightening, they had a lot. I mean, if anything, they had a host of villains that probably no other toy line had. So they had some weird, frightening villains. I mean, look at his face, even for a Filmation cartoon. That's pretty terrifying if you're a kid. But until you add the voice, like it seems more comical than it is like scary. If he had like Darkseid's voice, like from the Superpowers cartoons, like He-Man, like something too deep, that might scare the shit out of some kids,
Here's a good version. Here's something from Vice.com that said in the 80s, the devil really wanted you to watch the Smurfs. Said throughout the 1980s, concerned parents were led to fear that demonic influences lay hidden in much of their kids' found entertainment, music, games, TV. The hysteria dubbed the Satanic Panic has passed into history, but now the nightmare world of Mexico's narco wars, both the church and the state are mounting a perhaps similar campaign against Santa Moreta, the skeleton saint, who they hold responsible for atrocities of this, whatever the hell this is. So I'm looking at heavy metal, of course, has enjoyed its, Black Sabbath, all that stuff. But they were going into even more of the toys. And the toys is what we were listening to as kids. And they brought up the Care Bears. They brought up He-Man.
Now that, strangely, I think, hear something about that a long time ago.
Dungeons and
Dragons. They can hide the shit in anything. So yeah, it's certainly possible if there was an agenda in there. I mean, if you look at some stuff that you find harmless but was overly sexualized, I mean, you can only look at comic books.
Said,
I grew up on those.
Trying to hurt our children. This goes back to the blood libel stories about Jews kidnapping Gentile children and using their blood for setters. Mm-hmm. Radford pointed out that Ouija boards, a frequent target of anti-cult propaganda, was first sold as a standard board game. Remember that shit when they had the Ouija board? Then also Hasbro, like in the...
My niece has a Ouija board. I don't know if she'll ever listen, but yeah, we always tell her don't fuck with those things.
How do you know, though? How do you know it's true? Then you got Harry Potter.
Why take that chance?
Well, you don't know.
I don't want to talk to any demons. So, demons could throw you off. Why would you talk to the demons on a Ouija board?
You're scoffing at my shit about the old He-Man dolls, and you're like,
I never thought about that because I still pick up an occasional He-Man thing. But You're ruining everything good in life. But
The
now I'm thinking,
devil is behind it.
am I buying a devil doll now? There's a gold jitsu guy. He's a karate man villain. What does he have to do with that? Now you have me thinking, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have bought that thing for a few bucks on clearance.
You just brought in the devil.
I don't know. Maybe I did, and you're right. Who knows?
30 toys. I don't know where this changed all this.
Dirty toys. Yeah.
30
that's
toys.
A whole new that's a whole new episode. We're gonna have a part 2 to this.
Yeah, we might have to do this. Start talking about these toys, the
demonic toys and what we played with as kids.
All right, let's go back to this shit because I'm just getting off the topic.
This is the second episode in a row that you've had an image of He-Man toys in there.
I liked He-Man
as their background. So did I. I still do.
Who didn't take off their arms and put them on other figure body parts?
Right? Create your own He-Man?
Yeah, you just create Frogman, whatever that guy.
Merman?
Fucking Frogman. Bring back this dude. Okay, back by my...
Yeah, that just got much better with the fucking
horror
of your childhood. Eyes just staring through your soul.
Look at that. Imagine playing with that thing.
Hello there, MC. How are you today?
Can his eyes get any wider?
That's the fear. So I didn't tell you the rest of the story. So I didn't want him on the
Hello, children.
I didn't want him on the edge of my bed. So I
wouldn't want him in my room or my house at all if I were you.
So I didn't want him on the edge of my bed. So I hung him on the wall on a nail by a string on the back of his neck.
So he just looks like he's levitating permanently in your room.
He's just hanging there. And that's what he looked like. And I was like, he was just staring at me while I'm sleeping.
Sweet dreams, JC, sweet dreams.
And I'm thinking he's gonna be pissed that I hung him by a string. So
probably he wanted to be close to you.
I'm gonna get rid of him. Now, see, that was my toy.
How'd you get rid of him? Did you burn him?
My brother got it. I put him under the bed, which was worse because I had like a little compartment under the bed, and all I was expecting to see like the arms going like
just pounding in this box that you put him in.
Going,
oh, let me out.
Why don't you want to play with me anymore, JC?
Why don't you want to talk to me anymore?
Be like that. What was that? The Twilight Zone when he had a little mannequin telling him to do stuff. That's what it felt like. So,
or the demons in Evil Dead, which would do like unlock these chains quickly.
That's what
they like. Turn back to normal and start talking to him in normal. Like, we're not a demon anymore. I'm all right now. I'm okay now, Ash.
Now let me ask you, the one with the little Muppets. What was the one with the little puppets? The little the dolls.
Wasn't there? There were some doll movies. The one with the drill head, all those Puppet Master toys, or are you talking about just
Puppet Master? That was creepy too. Again, creepy. Why? Creepy because it could be real. Again, back to the demonic baby stuff that people were freaking out with all the toys. That could be real, correct?
I think anybody listening to this, including ourselves or Christian, yeah, you have to believe that the devil and demons are real. You know, if your faith is telling you that's to look out for those things, then sure.
This is what my brother had, was that animal puppet.
Oh,
remember Animal? That's what my brother had. So
that made me think before our episode is done. Some of the creepier ones that had Stephen King in the end was like the Salem's Lot, when the children are floating through the window and the green eyes of
creepy shit, isn't it?
Of Orville from like the Clint Eastwood movies. Orville from, his eyes are all fucked up and green.
How about when the Salem's Lot, when he comes down the stairs, a little vampire kid? That still sticks in my mind today.
Yeah, those things are hard to forget.
Running down.
Children of the Corn, remember that?
Yeah,
that was a fucked up movie too. The kids are all they killed the parents and they're all fucked up. That little demonic leader. Then when he gets possessed at the end and he's like, he wants you to murder guy. Yeah, that was a fucked up movie too.
And again, that kid was also European Vacation with Chevy Chase, not the same kind of kid, but when you see that stuff, you're like,
the redheaded kid.
These things could happen. You could be driving down the street, get stuck in a cornfield for some God knows what reason, and you're like, I'm gonna get out of my car and just walk around, see what's out there. Then you run into these little little Quaker looking kids wearing the little overalls, and they're like, "Come on into our little cult, and don't mind us with all the machetes and knives that we have, and we're just gonna start hacking people." Just terrifying move.
Yeah, those are some screwy movie. Yeah, the children. Remember the movie The Children? They all had the glowing eyes and stuff. You never seen that one?
No.
Yeah, Children of the Damned.
So the last movie I saw besides Halloween was I watched Sinister with my sons, and Sinister made me laugh because the movie Sinister was supposed to be like this evil kid doing stuff, and it was videoed with an 8mm camera all the time.
Yeah, because that one demon was possessing them, right?
Yeah,
and then he was claiming them through the.
Then you find out it was a kid that was doing everything. And then you started questioning, like, how strong are these children? They could pull people into the pool with bricks on their feet. They could run them over with a lawnmower. It just made me laugh. And so I think those kind of movies are funny because they really give you that whole, like, they give you the, they lead to your imagination of, like, what could be happening. And those kind of movies, I think, is what messes with kids because they're like, this could, like when we were kids, this truly could happen. So those are the kind of movies I think are good horror movies, is the movies where there's some kind of belief that this truly could be happening. And I think that's what gets a hold of kids' imagination. Now, on the other side, with the movies like the horror slasher movies,
yeah,
none of this stuff, because kids don't camp anymore. So Friday the 13th out the door. No one even cares about that anymore. Halloween kind of is just one of those things where it's like, yeah, sure, like some dude's going to walk around with a mask and do it. But think about it. That truly could happen too. Someone could actually be doing that. And that's.
Did you ever see the movie Truth or Dare? That's a kind of a weird Halloween esque tied in film. The guy is, hooked on Truth or Dare, like and he has these images in his head, and I think he comes out of the insane asylum with a copper mask, and yeah, that's kind of a weird.
Those kind of movies, like, crap, man, this could be real. All right, last 5 minutes. Tell us why. Too scary for you. Tell us why. Yeah, I don't want to hear it.
Don't tell me about some underground film from the 80s. I don't want to see that.
Tell us why you liked Evil Dead.
Evil Dead Rise,
the one that's in the movie theaters, correct?
Yeah. It's just I love the franchise. I think Sam Raimi, anybody who's familiar with his work, he kind of makes a little bit of demon wisecracking, although he doesn't do it much in these last two movies. This is the second one of the rebooted Evil Deads. It kind of he's keeping it strict like creep horror, but it's over the top gore and intense stuff. Like, I don't want to spoil shit, but like,
no, that's why we're here. Spoil shit.
Well, okay, all right. Since it's been out for a while, so right at the beginning, you're probably not going to see this anyways. But spoiler warning for anyone. So at the beginning, there's these three. There's a girl. She's with the boyfriend of her cousin, and her cousin's sick. And they're basically at the woods for this one. It's the only part of the movie that's taking place near the lake in the woods. So she's telling him like how, messed up in the head or whatever it is, and her sister's all sick, and you don't know why at this point. But she's reading a book, and her sister starts reading the pages of the book, and her back is turned to her, or she's cradled up in there. It's just creepy. She's like just reading every page, and like the girl drops it, and she goes over to see how she is, and she earlier had made a crack about her dumb-witted, boyfriend or something like that, or empty-headed boyfriend, something along those lines. And then she tears her scalp off, like, who's the dim-witted now? And it's like all fucked up. And then she's screaming. She runs to the lake where the boyfriend's playing with his drone, and her fucking head's in there. And like he's like, what the fuck? And then
this is a current.
This is a current one.
This is up to date. Like when you say with the drone.
Yeah, she takes the drone right into her face, and it's cutting in there, and then she falls into the water. And like the boyfriend, instead of saying, what the fuck, he dives in after her, and then he's sucked in like piranha, and then she levitates out of the water with her eyes, fucking possessed. And it's like Evil Dead Rise. And then that sets up what's going to be the tone for the rest of the movie, like a fucking crazy ride of insanity. And that's just the first few minutes of the film. And then that goes into what happens at the high rise. So to truncate it, they're on high rise or whatever apartment building that's over an old bank vault or whatever it was. Something is mentioned about that in there. So there's kids involved. So they go out for pizza, and then there's almost like an earthquake kind of weirdness. They could see a crack in the parking lot, and the boy of the group goes down there, and he's finding all the shit of like I don't know if it was supposed to be the Necronomicon or one of 3 Necronomicon books, but of course he finds that, and he finds these records, because he's like a DJ taken after his aunt who's visiting, and it just turns into, of course, he's stupid enough to play them, and it's over the speakers, and it's basically like the guy reading and translating the Book of the Dead in the cabin in the first Evil Deads. Well, he's basically playing the incantations that are translating this Book of the Dead now in a high rise, and then it just causes a storm. It's raining, everything goes batshit crazy from there. How the girls are usually raped by the trees, and the other one, well, that's where in the images you might see in the commercials, she's in the elevator and the cables are wrapping around her, and that's how the mom gets possessed. And then they're basically battling the mom, and then it just turns into a whole everybody's getting possessed, and it's pretty fucked up. There's some shit through the keyhole, which is fucking freaky. She's starting to talk normal to the girl, like, I'm okay now, like your dad's here too. And it's like, this girl probably never even knew her dad. That's jarring. She kind of, she wants her to unchain the door. Well, as soon as this little tiny innocent little blonde girl, she fucking grabs her arm. I mean, that's a fucking crazy scene. Grabs her arm through the door. She's trying to fucking tear her apart. And it's just it's nothing like the TV series Ash versus Evil Dead. That's more of the splat stick. These movies that Raimi released, the second one, it's straight up horror and creepiness. I mean, they're elevator fills with blood. There's just a whole lot of fucking fucked up shit going on in it. The only thing was just,
why would you want to see this movie? Just want to be scared shitless of just crazy stuff?
I think there's a kind of part of you who wants, hey, what are these deadites going to say and wisecracking and stuff? But yeah, they're not really. There was a few fucking things, but yeah, it's more like probably
what's the difference?
Like why would you get on a roller coaster? For Pete's sake, why would you get on a roller coaster? Right?
So what's the difference between these Evil Deads versus the movie you watch? Are they similar? Are they together? What is these?
The Deadites are supposed to be the only thing similar. Like the Deadites might crack more jokes than anything with Bruce Campbell, but with these, there's not much to laugh at. There's a lot more horror. I think it's just more on the horror sense than it is the splat. They call Bruce Campbell stuff splat stick because it's like gory, but it's it's funny. They're cracking jokes. He's cracking one-liners. These demons in this one are not really doing that. I mean, it's more about like dismemberment, fucking, there was some crazy ones. Like the one girl, she's possessed. She was eating glass, but then a few minutes later, she's like, I told you not to translate the book as a demon. But like the demon's kind of fucking with them by still retaining memories and traits of the ones they possess. And it's just, I don't know, maybe the movie is just a what not to do in demonic possession or in a situation where demons or zombies are going around. Like, maybe it's supposed to help you as a guidebook of, hey, if all your nieces and nephews get possessed by one, but then one gets snatched away once you're about to escape, just take off. Don't try to save them. The other ones were already possessed. just leave. But I don't know. It's just pretty funny. It's more entertaining, but this one was intense.
I guess so. Well, that was a good wrap up of this movie is really gross. So we're gonna exit on here. Make sure you click the little button at the bottom and subscribe on the horror movie section of Evil Dead, and then we go into Satanic Toys. Maybe that'll be our next version of
the possessed ventriloquist doll that Coach JC grew up with.
Yep, maybe. So we exit out as scary movies, why we like them. Make sure when you watch them with care.